Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I pay homage to the Blessed One, the Supremely Enlightened One. I pay homage to my teacher, Lukuswami Vahase, who teaches me the Supreme Buddha's Dhamma. Sadhu, sadhu. So, we are learning this amazing sutta from the Samyutta Nikaya, Kuṇḍaliya Sutta, if you can remember. And that is the name of the wanderer who met the Buddha. And he said that he didn't know much about the Buddha and his teachings. And he said, Bhante, I like to hang around the monasteries and visit the assemblies. And when I finish my breakfast, it is my habit to wander from monastery to monastery, from park to park. There I see some ascetics and Brahmins speaking for the sake of winning debates and finding fault of others' debates. But what benefit does Master Gautama live for? And he wanted to know the goal of living, how it is explained by the Buddha. So now this question was asked here from the Buddha 2,500 years, about 2,500 years ago. And the same question was asked by a kid today during the children program, the Dhamma school. And he asked the same question. What should be the purpose of our living? Same question he asked. And I told him, the purpose of the living of a human being should be to find the way out of this cycle of rebirth. That was my answer. Is that a good answer?
Yes, Bhante. Hopefully you can understand.
Oh yeah, they understand better than you. The kids normally understand better than adults. So that should be the purpose of our living. Like when we come to the human world, we should seek a way out to end this suffering, to end the cycle of rebirth. And that's possible only when the Buddha's teachings are available, right? So what else should be the purpose? Because we have achieved all the other purposes in incalculable times in this samsara. This is the only purpose we have, we were not able to achieve. Attaining Nibbana, ending suffering, ending the cycle of rebirth. So he wanted to know the purpose of living. What benefit does Master Gautama live for? Do you remember the answer?
Yes, Bhante, it's Vijja Vimutti, the knowledge and liberation.
Yeah. Buddha explained that the liberation from suffering is my purpose of living, the benefit that the Buddha lives for. Attaining the true knowledge of life, seeing the truth of life and liberation from suffering. So then he wanted to know how to achieve that. What should be developed to achieve that? And the answer, Buddha gave the answer, 7
Awakening factors.
awakening factors, Satta Bojjhango. Then he wanted to know how to develop these. So now he learns these things for the first time in his life. Imagine. So he wanted to know what should be developed in order to fulfill the 7 awakening factors. The 7 factors that support the awakening, enlightenment. Answer, the 4 kinds of mindfulness meditation, Chattaro Satipatthana, should be developed to fulfill the 7 factors, supporting factors for enlightenment. Next, he wanted to know what must be developed in order to fulfill the 4 kinds of mindfulness meditation. And the answer,
3 kinds of good conduct.
3 kinds of good conduct. So we have to learn these things in detail, right? We need to learn because this is the same path that we should follow. The Noble Eightfold Path is described here in a very beautiful way. So there are 18,000 discourses, and the Buddha's amazing ability to describe the Noble Eightfold Path in so many different ways, various ways. So this is a very good example about it. Noble Eightfold Path has been described in an amazing way here. Then he wanted to know what things must be developed and cultivated in order to fulfill the 3 kinds of good conduct. Answer,
Sense restraint.
sense restraint. Even though these words are technical and maybe not common, this is a very straightforward thing. Sense restraint, senses means our, it's another name for our life. So basically, we need to restrain our life. And what is that life of senses? Eye is one sense. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So how many senses?
6 senses.
6 senses. 6 senses. Restraint means we are going to learn the meaning of restraint. Because next, so he finished questioning from here, and then Buddha started explaining the Dhamma all the way from sense restraint to knowledge and freedom. Now Buddha is going to explain them one by one. And here, according to this sutta, the starting point is sense restraint. Remember, we did the Vipassana meditation based on the 6 senses. Now you can see how powerful it is, because this is the beginning point of the path, according to this sutta. So the solution or the path to attain freedom is not far away, right? It's right here, very close. It starts with our eyes. It starts with our ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. It's not far away. Isn't it a good news that we don't need to run or go somewhere to find the path to end suffering? Okay, now we are going to learn the Buddha's teachings about sense restraint. Who is going to read?
I can read, Bhante.
Okay, Rob.
And Kuṇḍaliya, how is sense restraint developed and cultivated so as to fulfill the 3 kinds of good conduct? Mendicant sees an agreeable sight with their eye. They don't desire it or enjoy it. And they don't give rise to greed. Their mind and body are steady internally, well settled and well freed. But if they see a disagreeable sight, they're not dismayed. Their mind isn't hardened, dejected, or full of ill will. Their mind and body are steady internally and well settled and well freed. Furthermore, a mendicant hears an agreeable sound with the ear, smells an agreeable odor with the nose, tastes an agreeable flavor with the tongue, feels an agreeable touch with the body, knows an agreeable thought with the mind. They don't desire it or enjoy it, and they don't give rise to greed. Their mind and body are steady internally, well settled and well freed. But if they know a disagreeable thought, they're not dismayed. Their mind isn't hardened, dejected, or full of ill will. Their mind and body are steady internally, well settled and well freed.
Sadhu. Sadhu. Okay. That is the meaning of sense restraint. When somebody sees an agreeable sight with the eye, they don't desire it or enjoy it, and they don't give rise to greed. Their mind and body are steady internally and well settled and well freed. And when that person sees a disagreeable sight, he is not dismayed. His mind isn't hard and dejected or full of ill will. There are no those kind of negativities. His mind and body are steady internally, well settled and well freed. That is the meaning of sense restraint. So I think we should first understand the sense unrestrained. That is the way that normally we live. Do you understand? Normally, do we live with sense restraint or sense unrestrained?
Senses are
Unrestrained.
unrestrained.
Unrestrained, and that is the reason for the suffering.
Yes.
Now, one of the Arahant Bhantes, his name is Arahant Malunke Putta, and that Bhante very clearly explains what happens when the senses are not restrained. So it is very important and helpful to understand, because next time when our senses are unrestrained, we know the danger and the consequences of it. And so understanding the danger and the consequences of the unrestrained senses will help us to go to the sense restraint back. So this is how Bhante saw the sense unrestrained. Can somebody read
Yes,
the first
Bhante.
two verses?
Yes, Bhante.
Okay.
Martha has her hand up too.
Yes. Martha, you want to read or you have a question?
No, well, I would like to read. Mhm.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
you can go ahead.
Thank you. When one sees a form with unestablished mindfulness, he recollects its pleasant signs. Then he experiences that form with an attached mind. His mind stays clinging to it. Many feelings arise to him, originating from that form. His mind is disturbed by desire and restlessness. For one who accumulates suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be far away. When one hears a sound,
No,
sorry.
that's okay. So we just discuss about this. So this is about seeing a form, a visual object with the eye. Is this true? Is this what is happening in our life?
Yes, Bhante.
And what is the reason for that? Because we see things with unestablished mindfulness, right? When we see things with lack of mindfulness of the true nature, that means we are not mindful about Vipassana. That's the meaning of lack of mindfulness. Now you see the power of doing Vipassana. And that knowledge, that wisdom is added to your life if you frequently practice that meditation, the Vipassana on the sixth sense basis. And next time when you open your eyes and when you see a visual object, something different will happen. And we are going to learn that in the next section. But this is what is happening when we have lack of mindfulness.
But
And-
Bhante,
Mhm.
so if I see something that I like, and I know in my mind I see it, I think, oh, that's beautiful. But in my mind, I say to myself, I know that's impermanent, subject to change,
Mhm.
and it's going to change. Can I still enjoy its beauty? If I like,
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's like, if something is beautiful, there is a pleasant feeling already arisen.
So if I know that pleasant feeling, say I buy a car, and
Uh,
I really like that car, but I know the car isn't mine, it's impermanent, subject to change. Can I, or is it that I can't have that
That
car,
is-
or is it I can have
that is
that?
the best, that is the perfect way to enjoy something when we see with our eyes. Understanding that this is beautiful, this is a pleasant feeling has arisen, but this is subject to change, this is impermanent. That is the understanding very well established in an enlightened person.
Thank
The
you, Bhante.
enlightened,
That-
yeah, that's the path. Like if we practice that path, one day those qualities will be very well established in our life. That's the path to enlightenment. But at the beginning, it is not easy to do because we are carried away by other defilements, such as craving, desires, and attachment, and all these things. But what happens when an enlightened person sees something beautiful? Buddha teaches the enlightened person recognizes that due to the pleasant eye contact, a pleasant feeling has arisen. You understand that part, right?
yes.
And then at the same time, the wisdom is already there. The enlightened person understands that this eye contact is impermanent, subject to change. The pleasant feeling that has arisen is subject to change, is not mine, not I am, not myself. And that understanding is well grounded. So what we are doing here is we are kind of imitating that thinking pattern with the intention of becoming such an enlightened person in the future. Right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So Buddha teaches,
Thank you.
yeah, when that understanding is grounded, there is no danger whatsoever for an enlightened person to eat a delicious plate of food. Buddha says there is no danger. Enlightened person would know the taste of the food. It's delicious, and he recognizes that. And
But he doesn't click.
yeah, he doesn't have clinging for that. That's because of the understanding of the Vipassana, right?
Right. So basically, if he was eating that and someone just took it away, it wouldn't matter to him. It
Correct.
wouldn't be like trying to, no, I'm not finished. It
Yeah.
wouldn't matter.
Yeah. There is no difference when a king or a queen or a rich person offered that delicious food to him, or when somebody stole it from him. There is no difference in his face, in his heart, in his feelings. That's an amazing development of the mind. There's no clinging, no attachment. And on the other hand, there is no anger, no hatred. Like that. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
So I think Kaila has a question. Please ask your question.
Sorry about that. The sun was in my eyes and I couldn't see my screen. Yeah, so I was just following on his question. I was wondering, of course, you shouldn't cling to things that make you happy, but what about things that make you upset or something that you don't like? Do you cling to not having that feeling?
Yeah, you mean for the disagreeable things for that you don't like.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what we learned here, right here from the Kuṇḍaliya Sutta. See this part?
It's not loaded. Oh, there.
Yeah, if we experience something disagreeable, we are not dejected by it. Our mind is not averse by it. We don't get angry. Still our mind is peaceful and seeing the reality. What is the reality and how to see the reality? Now an unpleasant feeling has arisen in me due to an unpleasant contact, right? And then you contemplate. This unpleasant feeling is also impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. So here, this is the result of your developed wisdom. So in the previous meditation, Vipassana meditation, we learned how to achieve this state. And this is the result. If your mind is developed with that Vipassana knowledge to see that contact is impermanent, subject to change, the unpleasant, painful feeling is impermanent, subject to change, and if your mind is well developed and trained on that Vipassana, seeing the true nature of an unpleasant feeling, this will be the result. When you see something or when you hear, when you experience something disagreeable, you are not averse of it. You don't get angry. You just maintain, see that your mind and body are steady internally. That means your internal peace is always there. Nothing happens to that peace. It is well settled. Your mind is well settled, well freed. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not entirely sure how to phrase what I mean, so I'll put it in like a simile. Like it's almost as if someone put a plate of food in front of you and you didn't like what was on the plate, would you eat it and just not get upset about it, or like would you avoid it? Essentially, like are you almost craving to not having that food that you don't like? Or do you learn to eat the food despite not liking it and being okay with it?
I think it's not a perfect simile, but depending on the situation, yeah, you can you can make decisions, but those decisions should be based on wholesome results. Wholesome results, like you want to make somebody happy, so you eat even with an unpleasant mind. That should not be the result. Because if you have an unpleasant mind, that means you haven't achieved this one here. The mind and body are steady, internally well settled and well freed, and that is, you have missed that part then. because you are eating that food with an unpleasant mind, with an unrestlessness or some aversion behind that. That shouldn't be the result. So you have to make decisions. For example, like as you explained about that food. So you have to make decisions based on wholesomeness and unwholesomeness. By doing this or by making these decisions, if I am going to achieve wholesome results or unwholesome results, based on that. And in any situation, to achieve wholesome results, the Vipassana knowledge supports you. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much, Bhante.
No problem. So when we learn more about this, everybody will understand more. I think somebody else also had a question.
Yes, Bhante, I had a question.
Mhm.
So when one sees a form, is it inevitable that a feeling will arise? It can either be pleasant, neutral, or unpleasant. But
Yeah. Always either of those three types of feelings. There is no way that you can avoid a feeling, because phassa paccaya vedana, the noble theory of the dependent origination is, when contact exists, feeling exists. So there is no way that you can get rid of a feeling if there is a contact.
so
Only thing is you can develop wisdom not to get attached or not to get averse by that feeling.
Thank you, Bhante.
So you want to have a life without feelings?
I I didn't think it was possible. So
Yeah, you are correct. It's not possible. It's
the
not
key is
possible.
not clinging to it. So thank you.
Yeah.
Or feelings stay neutral, Bhante.
Yeah, it's also a feeling. But that is not praised by the Buddha, the neutral feeling. Because Buddha says there is desire behind pleasant feelings. That's called raga anusaya, underlying tendency to desire. There is aversion behind painful feelings. That is called patigha anusaya, underlying tendency to aversion or anger. And you think there is wisdom behind neutral feeling?
Delusion, Bhante.
So neutral feeling is good?
The delusion behind neutral feelings.
Yes. So behind neutral feeling, there is delusion. Avijja anusaya, underlying tendency to delusion.
But Bhante, don't you think that so if we avoid reacting to a certain situation or anything, so that if we don't react, then there is no wholesome or even unwholesome results that will come. And so if you don't react, you just stay neutral. Well, so
okay,
that will also have a side
here
effect.
neutral has two meanings. Neutral in the ordinary sense. Ordinary neutral is referred to the neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Okay, so that is a feeling. But if somebody develops wisdom and sees things as they really are, and they are not carried away by pleasant feelings, nor averse by unpleasant feelings, nor deluded by neutral feelings, that is called upekkha. That is just kind of a neutral thing, but that is not a feeling, that is a wisdom. That is called upekkha, equanimity. So normally people misunderstand these things. Neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling is a feeling. It's not a wisdom. It's not an understanding. It's like pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling. It's like that. We call neutral feeling. But the real word is for that is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Upekka, adukkhama sukha vedana, adukkhama sukha. And the mind being neutral of an enlightened person comes due to the wisdom that's called upekka, equanimity. And when the equanimity is in a mind, that is, the person sees the pleasant feeling as pleasant feeling. But, you know, when we have a pleasant feeling, our mind is restless. Because there is a stream of defilements following that pleasant feeling, right? We are carried away by desires, craving, clinging, attachment. There's a stream of defilements behind knowing that pleasant feeling. But when it goes to the equanimous mind of an enlightened person, it's different story. The enlightened person recognizes the pleasant feeling as pleasant feeling, but as a result of understanding the pleasant feeling in its full nature, the mind is not carried away by those feelings, so the mind is not restless. That state of peace of mind connected with wisdom is called equanimity, equanimous mind. If you like to learn more about this, you can read Indriya Bhavana Sutta, development of the senses, in the Majjhima Nikaya, Indriya Bhavana Sutta. That's a beautiful sutta, and Buddha explains there what this wisdom does and how wisdom helps the practitioner to observe the feelings in a different way. And as a result, this new kind of feeling, we can say, like associated with wisdom, equanimous mind is achieved. And with that equanimous mind, the person will experience that feeling. And that equanimous mind is to be gained through this Vipassana knowledge. You can see very clearly that and that's a very peaceful state of mind. That mind is not carried away by pleasant feelings, the defilements connected with the pleasant feelings, and defilements connected with the unpleasant feelings, and the defilements connected with the neutral feeling. That my mind is not carried away by those defilements. It's just a peaceful state of mind. And you can see that how that mind is explained here. These are the similar words for that. See? When a pleasant feeling, when that person experiences a pleasant feeling, the mind and body are steady, internally well settled and well freed. Same thing when that person experiences a disagreeable thing. The mind is not dismayed, the mind is not hardened, dejected, or full of ill will. The mind and body are steady and internally well settled and well freed. That's the result of the seeing things as they really are, and that's the kind of equanimous state of mind. In our case, we are normally carried away by the defilements behind the pleasant feeling and the defilements behind the unpleasant feeling and neutral feeling. But our goal is to achieve that equanimous mind one day.
I see, Bante, I got your point now. So because most people, so given a situation, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, people react using the feelings. So the emotion
like they have to react,
yeah,
because
people
they are
react.
restless. They are restless. They
So
have to
even-
go after something beautiful, something delicious, something nice. They have to go after because they cannot stop.
So instead, the mind should come in, okay, and try to, even the mind will recognize as well what's happening with the pleasant or unpleasant, but then the mind seems to control, and he knows how to handle it and
Yeah.
not carried away by the feelings.
Yes. That should be the
Okay,
goal.
I got it. Thank you very much, Bhante.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. Scott, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Bhante. It all makes a lot of sense to me, except, I mean, doing it is the hard part, of course. But in the suttas, when they talk about, and you were mentioning it, the neither unpleasant nor pleasant, and the defilement of delusion being behind that always confuses me. Can you maybe help me understand a little better what, like when I'm experiencing either pleasant nor unpleasant feeling, why is it delusion? I don't
there's
understand the
delusion
delusion. Why
behind
is
it?
it delusion?
Yeah. So if there wasn't delusion behind a neutral feeling, then what we all need to do is go in front of a wall and stay there. So our wisdom will be developed. because wall, in front of a wall, you don't experience a pleasant feeling or an unpleasant feeling. It's a neutral feeling there. Adukkham sukha vedana. You know, just imagine a plain wall, okay? And that is an example where you experience a neutral feeling. Just one example. If there is no delusion in that feeling, what should be there? What else should be there? There should be wisdom, because either delusion or wisdom, one or the other. So if there is no delusion of a neutral feeling, then why don't we go and stand in front of a wall and spend days and days there? So there will be wisdom arising from that experience. No, it's not that, because this is the reason. We should go backward of the dependent origination, the paticca samuppada, the core teaching of the Buddha about the cause and effect mechanism. That is the way to understand all the connection and links between causes and conditions. So let's go behind. Let's go backward. Okay, so we are at the feeling, neutral feeling. So what is the result? What is the cause for the neutral feeling?
Neutral contact, Bhante.
Contact.
Yeah, phassa paccaya vedana. Dependent on contact, feeling arises, right? Okay. Now we go backward. What is the cause of contact?
Sense bases.
Yes, salayatana paccaya phasso. Dependent on sense basis, contact arises. Okay, we go to the next link, backward. What is the cause of 6 sense bases?
Start to forget.
Nama Rupa, Bhante.
Nama rupa paccaya
Nama.
salayatana. Dependent on mentality and materiality, 6 sense bases arise. That means our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind arise. Okay, we go backward to the next link. What is the cause of mentality and materiality?
Contact.
Conscious.
Vijnana paccaya nama rupa. Okay, Vijnana paccaya nama rupa. Buddha realized dependent on consciousness, mentality, and materiality arise. Okay, we go backward to the next link. What is the cause for consciousness?
Savijja.
Choices.
Formation.
Sankhara paccaya vijnana. We should
Ignorance.
do an exam. I think many of the
Ignorance, right?
students will fail.
We have to review.
Dependent on formations, consciousness arise. Sankhara paccaya vijnana. We go backward for the next link. What is the cause for sankhara?
Ignorance.
Ignorance.
Avijja pacha sankhara.
Avidya, ignorance or not knowing the Four Noble Truths, not knowing the reality. So dependent on not knowing the Four Noble Truths, formations arise. Where did we start? At feelings, remember? We started from feeling and went backward.
Okay.
Now the starting point is ignorance. Another word for ignorance? Delusion. Okay, now you start with delusion. And you go to the next one. Avidya pacha sankhara.
Qualitational.
Now the delusion is in the formations because we started with the delusion or not knowing the reality, not knowing the Four Noble Truths. And we go to the next one. Sankhara pacha viññāna.
Consciousness.
And there is delusion in the consciousness because we started with the delusion, not knowing the reality. What is the next one? Viññāna pacha nama rupam.
Name and form.
There is delusion now in the mentality and materiality because it's linked together. They are not separated, interlinked, right? And then nama rupa pacha salayatana. Now there is delusion in our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Okay, and salayatana pacha passo, dependent on six sense basis, contact arises. That means we open our eyes, we pay attention to the sound. That's the contact, right? Now there is delusion in the contact, inside the contact. There is delusion. Did we drop the delusion on the way, halfway? Did we drop it? No, it's coming. And now contact. Delusion is in the contact. What comes after contact?
Feeling.
Did you drop the delusion?
No.
Whatever feeling we experience, there is that base delusion, ignorance, avidya is there. That is why no matter what kind of feeling we experience, whether pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, what is the next result? Vedana pacha?
Craving.
Craving. So craving is always arises no matter what type of feeling we experience, because there is delusion there. That is why the ignorance should be abandoned or at least weakened. And then little by little, the practitioner starts to experience feelings by limiting the level of the delusion. And finally, the delusion is totally abandoned and the feelings become just bare feelings. They are not followed by defilements such as craving, clinging, delusion, attachment, and like that.
Thank you, Bhante. That was excellent explanation.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, because it becomes excellent because of the excellent discovery of the cause and effect mechanism of the Buddha. Because that's the only way that we can understand how things work. So please learn the dependent origination mechanism of cause and effect mechanism, and that will solve many problems in your life. Okay.
But Bhante, it does it happen like how fast? Like this happens like in the blink of an eye, right? Like it's like this whole process we're talking about. It's like snap.
Yes, that is why the result also should come that fast. That's in the Indriya Bhavana Sutta. The knowing that a person feeling has arisen and this is impermanent and subject to change, this is condition, that understanding should come very fast, instantly, like this. That's in that sutta. So, but we are in a gradual training, little by little, we will come to that stage, right? It's like going to schools. We don't learn everything at once. We go from the kindergarten and then little by little, right? Yeah, but our goal, we know that where we are going one day, where we are going to achieve, right? So that's important.
Bante,
Mm-hmm.
is Aina Namo Buddhaya.
Oh,
Bante, I understand that from the feeling, either pleasant or unpleasant, they carry the delusion.
mm-hmm.
But how about for the neutral feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Do we still carry delusion in the neutral feeling?
Yes, because the avijja, the process starts with avijja, as I mentioned before. The process starts with avijja. Avijja means not knowing the Four Noble Truths. And
Can we say that when we have the neutral feeling, the level of avijja is weakened?
when if the Vipassana knowledge is added to the life, yes,
No,
absolutely.
what I mean that when we have the neutral feeling,
Mm-hmm.
when we have the neutral feeling, now
Mm-hmm.
I understand, like Bante said, the avijja is still there. But can I think that the level, the grade of the avijja is weakened?
You mean compared to the
Weakened
pleasant
with
feeling and compared to the pleasant and unpleasant feeling?
Yes, Bante.
No.
Oh.
There's no such thing.
Oh.
So that's why I said, like, if the avijja level is lower in the neutral feelings, let's go and have more neutral feelings. Because why should we collect more avijja to our lives by experiencing pleasant and unpleasant feelings if if the level of ignorance is so high in those two feelings and the level of ignorance is very low in neutral feelings? No such thing.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So,
Bante.
yeah, only way to lower the ignorance level is to follow the Noble Eightfold Path and gaining this the understanding. That's why, like, even the midst of pleasant feelings, even the midst of unpleasant feelings, even the midst of neutral feelings, you can still gain this amazing understanding of life. You don't need to, like, shut down pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, and you don't need to hide in a cave and you don't see any beautiful thing, you don't hear any beautiful thing. You don't need to, like, lock yourself. That's not the path. Okay, Rob, what is your case?
Oh, just about the explanation of defilement being behind pleasant and unpleasant feelings, but delusion being behind neutral feelings. Or I guess we could say defilement or delusion is behind all three, or is there some distinction between defilement
all
and
three. All three. Behind all three.
Why do we use the word defilement then, as opposed to delusion regarding pleasant?
Oh, because delusion is only one type of defilement. So the behind pleasant feeling, there are various defilements. Delusion is there, craving is there, desire is there, attachment is there.
Oh, I see.
Like that. Okay.
Okay. So it's a broader spectrum of problems.
Yeah. Yes.
I see. Okay.
That's the
Thank you.
amazing wisdom of the Buddha. So next we go back to understand the danger and how we are getting away from the freedom. It's important to learn about the cause of suffering. This is the cause of suffering. So when one sees a form with unestablished mindfulness, he recollects his pleasant signs. Is that correct? Does this happen to us?
Yes, Bante.
Yes.
Yes, Bhante.
Then he experiences that form with an attached mind. Does that happen to us?
Yes, Bante. Attachment.
His mind stays clinging to it. Is that right?
Same.
Yes. Next, what happens next? Many feelings arise in him originating from that form, from that visual object. Is that right? Yeah, because we create stories now. We have that visual object and we create stories based on it. Now, there are lots of feelings wandering in our mind now. What happens next?
Disturbed.
Does peace come? Does calm come, or what? Mind is disturbed by desire and restlessness. Is that right?
Yes, Bhante.
Yes. For one who accumulates suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be far away. This is the cause of suffering. But, you know, we may understand this part. We may understand this part, what is happening, but we may not understand the cause for that. This is the cause for all these later happenings. What is the cause? Seeing something with unestablished mindfulness. That is the discovery of the Buddha. We cannot find that in any other book or any other teaching or any other doctrine, only in the discoveries of the Buddha.
So
Because
Bhante,
yes.
Bhante, the key is mindfulness, awareness.
That is
and
why. Now
mindfulness.
here, the key for the problem is lack of mindfulness.
Yes, correct.
And that discovery is very rare, because people will experience these things. Okay, many feelings arise from originating from that visual object. You know, we create stories. People will say, yeah, that is happening in me. And they will say, oh, when I think about what I saw, the beautiful thing, my mind is disturbed by desires and restless, and now I am very restless. People will agree with that, right? But they don't know why. And to teach that, there should be a Buddha in the world, or the teachings of the Buddha must be available in the world. Do you understand?
Yes, Bhante.
That is very special.
Bhante.
Okay, now who is going to read about hearing?
Can I read, Bhante?
Mm-hmm.
When one hears a sound with unestablished mindfulness, he recollects its pleasant signs. Then he experiences that sound with an attached mind. His mind stays clinging to it. Many feelings arise in him originating from that sound. His mind is disturbed by desire and restlessness. For one who accumulates suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be far away.
Awesome. Now you understand why we miss Nibbana for so long?
Yes, Bhante.
This is why we miss Nibbana. This is how we went far away from Nibbana. Very clear. Who is going to read about smelling?
Bhante, I can read.
Mm-hmm.
When one smells an odor with unestablished mindfulness, he recollects its pleasant signs. Then he experiences that odor with an attached mind. His mind stays clinging to it. Many feelings arise in him, originating from that odor. His mind is disturbed by desire and restlessness. For one who accumulates suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be far away.
Awesome.
Thank you, Bhante.
Who is going to read about tasting?
Yeah, Bhante, may I?
Mm-hmm.
When one tastes a flavor with unestablished mindfulness, he recollects its pleasant signs. Then he experiences that flavor with an attached mind. His mind clings to it. Many feelings arise in him originating from that flavor. His mind is disturbed by desire and restlessness. For one who accumulates suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be far away.
Good. Now you understand why Nibbana is far away?
Yes.
Okay. Who is going to read about sensation?
I can read, Bhante.
Okay, Raymond.
When one feels a tangible with unestablished mindfulness, he recollects its pleasant signs. Then he experiences that tangible with an attached mind. His mind clings to it. Many feelings arise in him originating from that tangible. His mind is disturbed by desire and restlessness. For one who accumulates suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be far away.
Now we understand why we always came through this hell, animal world and ghost world. You know the reason now? This is the reason. This is the reason. Nothing else. Who is going to read about thinking?
Can I try one? Oh, okay, Manisha, go ahead.
Mhm.
Okay. When one thinks a thought with unestablished mindfulness, he recollects its pleasant signs. Then he experiences that thought with an attached mind. His mind clings to it. Many feelings arise in him originating from that thought. His mind is disturbed by desire and restlessness. For one who accumulates suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be far away.
Okay, now good. Everybody understands why we haven't achieved Nibbana so far?
Yes, Bante.
Good. Now do you like to getting closer to Nibbana?
Yes, Bante.
Yes, Bante.
Okay. I had only 3 years, so that means
Yes, Bante, of course.
Yes, Bante.
We
Yes,
all
Bante.
so you like to get closer to Nibbana?
Yes,
we want,
Bante.
yeah, we want to
Yes,
be awakened.
Bante.
Yeah, fortunately the path is revealed. This is the path to getting closer to Nibbana. Who is going to read?
I can try, Bante. This is Buddhi.
Okay, okay, Budi.
When one sees a form with established mindfulness, he is not attached to that form. Then he experiences that form with a detached mind. His mind doesn't cling to it. Through the way he sees that form and the way he associates with that feeling, defilements get destroyed. There is no accumulating. That is how he lives mindfully. For one who reduces suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be close by.
This. Isn't that a good news?
For sure.
Yes, Bante.
Okay. See, that's really beautiful. I like to repeat. When one sees a form with established mindfulness, that's where the Satipatthana comes, Chattaro Satipatthana. He is not attached to that form. That is the way. So this is the most difficult thing in the world. Not being attached to a visual object. And how to gain that? It is explained in the second verse. And as a result of not getting attached, then he experiences that form with a detached mind. So if there is no attachment, what is there?
There's no clinging.
Detachment.
No clinging.
Detachment. If
Yeah.
there is no attachment,
Detached.
there is detachment.
No detachment.
Yeah, his mind does not cling to it. Okay, now comes about Vipassana, the support of Vipassana. Listen to this very carefully. Through the way he sees that form, what is that way? Through Vipassana. Through the perception of impermanence.
Mind.
Perception of non-self. Basically, through that understanding of the meditation that we did in the beginning, that is the way he sees the visual object. And the way he associates with that feeling. Remember, we talked a lot about how he associates the feeling? How a wise person associates the feeling, we discussed a lot. The defilements gets destroyed. That is the good news. Defilements get destroyed. And we learned about, we discussed a lot about defilements behind those feelings, and those defilements get destroyed. There is no accumulating of defilements. There is no accumulating of negative things. That is how he lives mindfully. For one who reduces suffering in this way, before what was there? he was disturbed by desire and restlessness. Remember? Now, instead of being disturbed by desire and restlessness, what is there? There is mindfulness. And he's reducing suffering. See? For one who reduces suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be close by. He is very close to Nibbana, said by the Buddha. Isn't that beautiful?
Thanks, Bhante. That was awesome.
That we can get close to Nibbana by the way we associate feelings. That is the best news.
Well, Bante, we can't blame us because almost everybody has the same upbringing background. We're in, family or the school teaches us to react through feelings, pleasant or unpleasant, right? So, and of course now we learn about Buddha's, teaching. So we have to shift and using the Vipassana and to use our mind in responding to different things, right? So yeah, this is how we were brought up. Like for example, competition. So in the school, so they say, so who is better? So and then there is a tendency that you're attached to that thing. You want to contest against another person. So you will strive harder, and then or even the beauty, you compare which one's more beautiful. So that's how we were brought up. We don't know.
Yeah, that's why. But still, the path is open for everybody. Like
that's why we're here. We're learning.
Yeah, but it's more difficult for lay people who are living in such a society, such an environment. It's difficult to achieve this kind of state, but it's not impossible. It was not the monks and nuns who were the majority of the disciples of the Buddha when the Buddha was alive. It was the lay people. Lay people were the most part of the followers of the Buddha. There were extreme interests, once returners, non-returners among the lay people. And they achieved this wisdom in different levels. So it's not impossible, okay?
Yes, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, who is going to read about how to get closer to Nibbana through our hearing?
A quick question, Bhante. Just the word associates kind of jumps out at me as an important word. I'm just trying to think of other ways to express it, maybe to fully understand it.
You can say like how he contemplates the true nature of feeling. That's another way of saying that same thing.
Right. Okay. I was thinking about relate to the feeling or react to the feeling, but contemplate to the feeling.
Contemplating the true nature of the feeling.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Please read about hearing.
I can read.
Okay, read.
When one smells an odor with established mindfulness,
sorry,
he is not.
We are at hearing.
Oh, sorry. Okay. When one hears a sound with established mindfulness, he is not attached to that sound. When he experiences that sound with a detached mind, his mind doesn't cling to it. Through the way he hears that sound and the way he associates with that feeling, defilements get destroyed. There is no accumulating. That is how he lives mindfully. For one who reduces suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be close by.
Very good. How about smelling?
Bhante?
Okay.
When one smells an odor with established mindfulness, he is not attached to that odor. Then he experiences that odor with a detached mind. His mind doesn't cling to it. Though the way he smells that odor and the way he associates with that feeling, defilements get destroyed. There is no accumulating. That is how he lives mindfully. For one who reduces suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be close by.
Very good. So I hope everybody understands what Nibbana is, right? You have to know where you are getting closer to. So Nibbana is the end of suffering, okay? That's the goal. That's our goal, to attain Nibbana. And we can learn about Nibbana, like beautiful similes, beautiful explanations, maybe one day. But just for now, please everybody understand that Nibbana is the goal of this path, the end goal, the ultimate goal, that is the end of suffering. That's the full realization of the truth. So,
Enlightenment.
yeah, Nibbana or Nirvana in
Enlightenment.
Sanskrit. Yeah. Okay, how about tasting? Who is going to read?
I'm going to read, Bante.
Mm-hmm.
When one tastes a flavor with established mindfulness, he is not attached to that flavor. Then he experiences that flavor with a detached mind. His mind doesn't cling to it. Through the way he tastes that flavor and the way he associates with that feeling, defilements get destroyed. There is no accumulating. That is how he lives mindfully. For one who reduces suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be close by.
Very good. So now you understand it is not the type of food we eat or we reject. It is the way that we develop wisdom. It's not coming from the food we select. It's coming from the wisdom. Okay, how about sensation?
I can read, Bante.
Okay, Linda.
When one feels a tangible with established mindfulness, he is not attached to that tangible. Then he experiences that tangible with a detached mind. His mind doesn't cling to it. Through the way he feels that tangible and the way he associates with that feeling, defilements get destroyed. There is no accumulating. That is how he lives mindfully. For one who reduces suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be close by.
Sadhu, sadhu. That is why for the Buddha and his disciples, they didn't need comfortable mattresses, beds, or pillows to make themselves happy. They may be some days sleeping under a tree on a very rough ground, or outside, still very happy, and no defilements, no complaints. It's because of their wisdom. And the last one, getting closer to Nibbana through thinking.
I can read, Bante.
Okay, Rob.
When one thinks a thought with established mindfulness, he is not attached to that thought. Then he experiences that thought with a detached mind. His mind doesn't cling to it. Through the way he thinks a thought and the way he associates with that feeling, defilements get destroyed. There is no accumulating. That is how he lives mindfully. The one who reduces suffering in this way, Nibbana is said to be close by.
Yes, these are the verses from the Arhan Malunke Putta Thero. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And now it should be clear to you why we were learning about this, about sense restraint, the power of sense restraint. If we go back to our original sutta, you will understand why we were learning that. If you can remember, Buddha explained that when the sense restraint, okay, this is the result of that kind of sense restraint. When a mendicant's mind and body are steady internally, they are well settled and well freed. when it comes to the both agreeable and disagreeable sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and thoughts. That is how the sense restraint is developed and cultivated so as to fulfill the three kinds of good conduct. Do you understand what is the result of the fulfillment, the development of the sense restraint, as we discussed, with the help of the mindfulness and the Vipassana knowledge? When the sense restraint is such developed, it leads to what?
Leads to Nibbana.
According to this,
You're getting
Three
closer
kinds
to
of
Nibbana.
it leads to the fulfillment of the
three kinds of good conduct.
three kinds of good conduct. Three kinds of good conduct. So we will learn about next the three kinds of good conduct and how the sense restraint is linked to the three kinds of good conduct. And this is very powerful. And our precepts and lots of the precepts are going here for the fulfillment of the three kinds of good conduct. And yeah, we can discuss more about it, but for now we understand how sense restraint, how important it is, and how powerful it is, and how it becomes a major part of the factor of the path to Nibbana, right? So say sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu.
That's the amazing knowledge of the Buddha, the enlightenment of the Buddha.
So, Bhante, sense restraint is just one of the three kinds of good conduct?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Okay. I got it.
Then sense restraint leads to three kinds of good conduct.
Okay. So what are three kinds of good conduct, Bhante? Later on.
Yeah, you have to come for the next class.
Next class.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Too early
sadhu.
to ask Harry.
It takes, see, it took 2 hours, or more than 2 hours to explain about sense restraint, and Harry wants to know about the three kinds of good conduct in 1 minute. It's not possible.
Quick question, Bhante, about a word. Another word that jumped out at me is accumulating. There is no accumulating. Defilements get destroyed. There is no accumulating. Does that refer to karma, or what does that refer to? Accumulating.
Normally it refers to defilements, karma. Yes, for both. Yeah, it refers to defilements and karma both.
I see. Okay. Defilements as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Collecting. Can you use the word?
Yeah, collecting defilements or accumulating defilements.
Is that accumulating defilements and accumulating karma? Those are kind of different or kind of similar, or?
Karma is accumulated because as long as there are defilements.
I see. Okay. Okay.
See the difference, see the link, see the connection between defilements and the karma?
Right. Right.
Yeah, when there are no defilements, no karma is accumulated.
Right. Okay.
Like why this karma is accumulated every time, and this karma is the thing that keeps us into this existence, in this cycle of rebirth, is the karma. And why is the karma accumulated? It's because of the defilements.
Right.
And once the defilements are totally abandoned, the accumulation of the karma comes to an end. That's called karma kaya.
That would be bad karma in this case, but you could also
not only bad karma, like all the types of karma. There are different types of karma. Remember, bright karma with bright results. Remember, dark karma with dark results. Both bright and dark karma with the mixed results. All the types of karma are
So for bright karma, that wouldn't be caused by a defilement. That would be caused by a merit, we'll say. I see.
Yeah.
Right, right. Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Good.
I also have a question, Bhante. Oh,
Yes.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was just about to tell Bante that you have a question, Kyla. Go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you so much. So I have a bit of a complex question, I guess. If someone identifies as transgender and they have gender dysphoria and they do things to change their body in order to become more masculine or feminine, would that be unwholesome? And would that like get them further away from Nibbana?
Of course, these teachings are for everybody. There are no limitations, no restrictions for whatsoever. And the results of this path are open to anybody. And even in the time of the Buddha, various types of people attained the results of the path. And if we think about like prostitutes, like courtesans, in the time of the Buddha, like they went to the Buddha to learn the teachings, and some people like rejected that. No, Buddha shouldn't teach the Dhamma to them, and we should never allow them to come to the monastery. And then the Buddha said, no, that's not my teaching. That's not my teaching. And then it was open to everybody. All types of people came to the Supreme Buddha. Serial killers like Angulimala came to the Buddha. And prostitutes like Ambapali came to the Buddha, and she offered her beautiful garden to the Buddha and built a monastery, and she became a nun under the Buddha later, and she gave up all the negative qualities in her life. She attained enlightenment. And serial killer Angulimala, he killed many people, and nobody thought that they could forgive him. But Buddha said, no, increase your wholesome side. So your unwholesome side will go down, and that will be weakened and totally abandoned one day. So basically it's open to anybody. There are no restrictions, no limitations. And also, that's my answer for your second question, okay? And anybody can join these programs and listen to this Dhamma and start a new life, practicing wholesome qualities, developing their mindfulness, and gaining peace and clarity of the mind through understanding, true happiness. Is open to anybody. So the answer for the first question, we need to have a very thorough understanding about what is wholesome and what is unwholesome. That knowledge has to be gained gradually in this path. For example, now we learned about how unwholesome qualities are accumulated through sense unrestrained. Today we learned. And how wholesome qualities are achieved through the sense restraint. We learned that today, okay? So in the next class, we are going to learn about how unwholesome qualities are accumulated by bodily misconduct, verbal misconduct, and mental misconduct. How wholesome qualities are achieved through bodily good conduct, verbal good conduct, and mental good conduct. So when you learn that, you can apply you can take your questions and go to that explanation of the Buddha, and you compare. Okay, now I'm talking about I have this question about my body or whatever, about my the behavior, or about my lifestyle or whatever, okay? And then you take that question and go there to the Buddha's explanations about wholesomeness and unwholesomeness, and you check. And if you check, okay, so Buddha said this is bodily misconduct, this is bodily good conduct, and then you recognize, oh, this is how bodily misconduct is described by the enlightened one. This is how the verbal misconduct is described by the enlightened one. This is how the mental misconduct is described by the enlightened one. So is my behavior, is my body, is my living is included in that unwholesome area? Then you decide. It's like that. So learn the teaching gradually, and you will be able to put all the questions one by one into that a wholesome and unwholesome description of the Buddha. Okay?
Thank you so much, Bhante. Sadhu,
Yeah.
sadhu, sadhu.
It's a gradual knowledge to achieve. For example, now we are going to learn about some more about wholesome and unwholesome things in the next class. Like when we learn that, I will explain more about this. Like if I give a very small example, some people think before they learn about the true meaning of the wholesomeness and unwholesomeness, even the people who call themselves Buddhists for a long time, they have lots of misunderstandings about wholesome and unwholesome. So when they learn the teachings clearly, they understand, oh, I was thinking that this was an unwholesome thing, but Buddha never said that it is an unwholesome thing. For example, I can remember when my teacher was teaching giving a Dhamma talk, and my teacher was explaining that in Sri Lanka, there was a common belief that by eating meat, people break the sexual misconduct precept. Like it is funny, but that was a belief, because the reason is they didn't understand, like somebody translated Kamesu Sumichachara not as sexual misconduct. The preachers, a monk or somebody translated Kamesu Sumichachara. Kamesu Sumichachara means the Pali sentence, Pali phrase for the sexual misconduct. But somebody mistranslated that Kamesu Michachara not as sexual misconduct. They translated it as misconduct of sense pleasures. So then he described misconduct of sense pleasures means, one example for misconduct of sense pleasures is eating meat. Completely confusion. And then people in Sri Lanka thought, if you eat meat, you break the third precept. That's completely a misunderstanding. And then Lokaswami Wahanse, my teacher, if you search, if you look for videos on my teacher's Dhamma talks on YouTube, you will see, like every time, almost every time when he teaches the Dhamma, when he gives a Dhamma talk, he has the Sutta Pitaka book in front of him on a book stand to prove people that I am repeating what Buddha said. It's not my opinion. So then what my teacher did was, my teacher took the book to the Dhamma programs, and my teacher started explaining the sexual misconduct precept as described by the Buddha, which we are going to learn in the next class. Exact meaning of sexual misconduct. When people learn that, they realize, oh, there is nothing here about eating. This is not about misconduct of sense pleasures. It's about direct sexual misconduct. They learned those word by word. My teacher translated from Pali to Sinhala, and then they realized, and that helped lots of people to get rid of their misunderstanding about a precept. It's just an example how the thorough Dhamma knowledge helps people to overcome their doubts and you know, understand things properly about what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. Otherwise, lots of people they regret it. My teacher says that some grandmothers, grandfathers, and they went up to my teacher and said, "Oh, Bhante, we are very sad because for a long time we broke the third precept because we ate meat." And Lokisan said, "This is very dangerous because now you are going to die with a regretful mind. On the other hand, you haven't broken the precept. It's a misinterpretation of the precept." You understand?
Yes, thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. Okay, I think everybody is happy.
Bhante, Anne has a question. She has her hand.
Oh yeah, please ask.
Thank you, Bhante. My question is about the mindfulness of feeling. When we when we experience a feeling, and then we know this is unwholesome feeling, and we try to let it go. I just wonder, is when it's actually go, like few days later it's go, is that because of impermanent of thing, and and then it's go by itself? And what is the difference between having a mindfulness over that feeling, and what is the difference between that feeling going because of impermanent?
Okay. So the feeling changes anyway, as you said, that feeling is impermanent. It changes anyway. But we are not trying to remove the feeling itself. We are trying to remove the layers of defilements associated with the feeling. That's all you need to understand. But
thank you, yeah.
But before that feeling is becomes impermanent, or before that feeling disappears, the problem is not the feeling itself. Before it disappears, we create so many other stories based on that feeling. If it was an unpleasant feeling after we saw an enemy, we don't understand that it's an unpleasant feeling, it's a conditioned feeling. I should not get averse of this feeling. This is impermanent, this is subject to change. We don't have that understanding. We've created a whole story behind that feeling, based on that feeling. Oh, he did this to me, he did that to me, he told this to me, he spoke about this to me, and this is what he did, and this is what he is going to do. I will kill him, I will shoot him. This is the problem. So we have wisdom to stop that. It's translated as proliferation. It's a very long, difficult word. Proliferation means prapancha. Prapancha means creating these stories after stories based on a feeling, not understanding that it will instantly change. This feeling will instantly disappear. I don't need to go after this. So that is our problem. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Okay.
Bhante, for teaching all of us. That was wonderful. Thank you, Bhante.
You're welcome. So let's
Thank you,
do a minute
Bhante.
sharing.
Very
Yes.
enlightening. Very enlightening. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, like all the words of the Buddha, truly enlightening. So I encourage you to read more and more the words of the Buddha. Amazing words. The taste of the truth. The amazing taste of Dhamma. So please read suttas, listen to Dhamma talks, and I bless all of you. May you attain the freedom from suffering as soon as possible. Sadhu.